This is every time Walter White was being an AI model, only the A doesn't stand for artificial, and in most cases he does make them feel dumb. I'll start with my favorite and see where it goes from there. In Season 3, Episode 11, Gus invites Walter to have dinner in his house, where he had carefully fabricated the appearance of a family man who's sentimental to the smell of a simple dish that brings him back to his childhood. Expressing how amazed he is by the connection of senses to memory, he rhetorically asked,
"How is that possible?"
Walter actually answered the question.
Basically, it all takes place in the hippocampus. Neural connections are formed. The senses make the neurons express signals that go right back to the same part of the brain as before, where memory is stored. Something called relational memory. Don't quote me on that. I'm rusty on my biology. That's very interesting.
Now back to episode 1 and Phosphine Gas. Jesse, who'd been knocked unconscious while attempting to get away, wakes up to find himself in a different location, and the two people who were about to kill him and Walter are the dead ones.
Hey, what'd you do to them?
Red phosphorus in the presence of moisture and accelerated by heat yields phosphorus hydride. Phosphine gas. One good whiff and...
6 episodes later, Jesse and Walter need to steal a methylamine barrel from a chemical supply warehouse. Walter decides to use thermite to cut through the door lock. Jesse doesn't even know what thermite is, so he asks Walter a second time if that can actually cut through a big lock. Walter answers the question by referencing a piece of history called the Gustav Gun, as an example to what thermite can do.
Thermite. In World War II, the Germans had an artillery piece. It's the biggest in the world, called the Gustav Gun. It weighed 1,000 tons. The Gustav was capable of firing a 7-ton shell and hitting a target accurately 23 miles away. You could drop bombs on it every day for a month without ever disabling it. But drop a commando, just a bag of this, and he could melt right through 4 inches of solid steel and destroy that gun forever.
First episode of Season 2, Tuco has to go before it's too late. Jesse suggests that they use a gun, but Walter has a better plan, a stealthy poison called Ricin. Jesse doesn't know what Ricin is.
Ricin. It's an extremely effective poison. It's toxic in small doses, also fairly easy to overlook during an autopsy. Back in the late 70s, Ricin was used to assassinate a Bulgarian journalist. KGB modified the tip of an umbrella to inject a tiny pellet into the man's leg. And we're talking about an amount not much bigger than the head of a pin. It killed him? Oh, yes.
8 episodes later, Jesse's brainstorming randomly inspired Walter to use the resources they have inside the RV to create their life-saving battery. As usual, Jesse had no idea what he's inspired Walter to make, or how it's made. So Walter continues to be Jesse's high school teacher, explaining what a battery is.
Battery is a galvanic cell. It's no more than an anode and a cathode, separated by an electrolyte, right? Right.
2 episodes later, Walter finds himself having a drink with Jane's father on the very night Walter is announced to have been found on Mars. Jane's father didn't know the significance of that news, so the teacher and Walter couldn't help but take that as a question.
Oh, well. Actually, they theoretically can separate the hydrogen from the oxygen and process that into providing fuel for manned space flights, ostensibly turning Mars into a giant gas station. So it's
A loud, harsh cry. Walt Whitman's was barbaric.
Yawp.
What is Yawp?
Kevin,
What is Yawp?
Yawp.
Tokyo 1200.
This time, Walter is not educating anyone. His and Jesse's lives are pending a decision from Gus. If the lab could run without them, they're dead. Victor claimed that he could run the lab on his own. Walter's response was the closest thing to watching a supercomputer put a human in his place.
Oh, so please, tell me. Catalytic hydrogenation, is it protic or aprotic? Because I forget. And if our reduction is not stereospecific, then how can our product be enantiomerically pure? I mean, is 1 phenyl, 1 hydroxy, 2 methylaminopropane, containing, of course, chiral centers at carbons number 1 and 2 on the propane chain. Then reduction to methamphetamine eliminates, which chiral center is it again? Because I forgot. Come on, help me out, Professor!
This is definitely Walter's most AI-like moment. Fourth episode of season 4, Hank had developed a passion for collecting minerals. Walter Jr. asked him why rhodonite looks pink.
What makes it be all pink like that?
So Hank got excited and tried to answer the chemical question in Walter's presence.
Well, that's the manganese part, okay? It oxidizes, like rust.
Exactly. Manganese can have an oxidation state of between -3 and +7, which takes it through a range of colors, purple, green, blue. But its most stable state is +2, which is usually pale pink. So, exactly, whatever the hell he said.
And finally, the save of the show. Hank is baffled by a WW in Gale's notes, almost considering the newly rich WW chemist who's sitting right in front of him.
Walter White.
A thought that could have easily turned into a real suspicion if it had lasted more than a few seconds. Walter's processing speed was a lot faster.
Wait a minute, let me see this, because I think I remember it. Ah, here.
When I heard the learned astronomer.
Learned. And from time to time looked up in perfect silence at the stars. It's a poem by Walt Whitman. Your WW.
You freaking brainiac.
Hope that was fun. Thanks for watching.